What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the January 8th, 2024 edition of Raw Talk. Matt Camp, Megan Moran in the studio, per usual. Pretty good edition of Raw on Monday night, I thought, between the opening segment with Punk and McIntyre, the street fight main event between Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura, and some solid stuff in between as well. They open up the show here running down the biggest headlines from said show, including recapping the Finn Balor-Tommaso Ciampa matchup, won by Ciampa. I know DIY cheated to win, but from what I had seen on Twitter, I must have missed this. I think Gargano attempted to cheat, but they actually botched the finish, so Ciampa ended up beating Balor clean instead, which is pretty funny. So at least Ciampa won. That was the right outcome, but I didn't realize that. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch it, but I'm pretty sure that's how it played out. They also recap the Miz and JD McDonough matchup won by The Miz. We hear from Awesome Truth, The Miz and Awesome, or rather R-Truth backstage. They don't officially call them Awesome Truth, like when they come out for tag matches and stuff, but they're having a match next week against Dominic and JD McDonough. So it would be cool if they came out doing, I mean, this would be incredibly dumb, and their characters, specifically Miz, isn't the same guy that he was back in 2011 when they were doing this as heels, but they used to come out and do their entrance together with, you know, Miz doing an awful rap in addition to R-Truth's rap, because R-Truth used to rap in the ring, obviously, and Miz would join in on him doing the rap. It worked as heels. I don't know if it would be as endearing with them as baby faces. Probably, I mean, Truth can do anything. The guy's pretty much bulletproof. The guy can do anything and people will find it entertaining because he is entertaining. Miz, maybe not so much, but it would be a nice trip down memory lane if they were to do that next week. So anyway, we hear from Miz and Truth backstage on this show. Miz calls Awesome Truth magic. And R-Truth says, well, I know we're facing the Judgment Day next week, but it's kind of confusing because I am in Judgment Day. And Miz says, listen. If we can beat Balor and Priest next week on the show, that could earn us an opportunity at those undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. And they also kind of continue to argue over Truth being in Judgment Day, and it might be confusing, blah, blah, blah. More entertaining stuff from Truth and Miz here, I thought. Back in the studio, they hype up next week's tag team matches with Awesome Truth taking on JD McDonough, or rather Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And DIY facing JD McDonough and Dominic in tag team action as well. They then replay the entire Punk, not the entire, but the highlights of the CM Punk Drew McIntyre segment that started the show. Great stuff. That left me looking forward to a match personally, one-on-one between the two. Potentially at Elimination Chamber. I feel like that'd be a great attraction for that show. Punk's first singles match back. Being against Drew, to me, writes itself before he goes on to hopefully face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. Matt Camp says that disappointments are getting to Drew. You know, loss after loss, and now he kind of has his sights set, or should have his sights set on the Royal Rumble, to not focus on stuff from 10 years ago with CM Punk and the mistake that he made last week. He's got to own that mistake in the match from last week, which I don't think Drew really alluded to in his promo last night. I might be mistaken. I feel like he didn't. I know he mentioned Priest costing him that match, which he kind of did, but not really. Drew would have won the World Heavyweight Championship if Seth's foot wasn't on the rope. And it was Drew who kind of inadvertently put Seth's foot on the rope by pinning him the way that he did. But anyway, Matt Camp just says at this point, you got to put the past behind you and focus on the Royal Rumble. They then replay the Rollins-Mahal segment from last night's Raw as well, setting up their World Heavyweight Championship match. No, that is not a joke. Rollins is defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Mahal next week on the show. Why? I have no idea. Listen, it's better than the Royal Rumble, and there's a very good chance that whatever they do next week could set something up for the Royal Rumble between the two. I'd rather Rollins not even be on the show if he has to face fucking Jinder Mahal at the pay-per-view. That sounds terrible. Now we hear from Mahal here on this show backstage, and Mahal simply says, listen, I want to get respect, and I do not want to be overlooked. He calls himself one of the greatest WWE champions of all time. I had a good hearty laugh at that one. And he says that he wants the WWE, or rather the World Heavyweight Championship, because he wants the platform to speak the truth as the, not Messiah or whatever his current character is. He wants to speak the truth as the World Heavyweight Champion. If there is any God, then we will not have that happen next week, and Mahal will not win the World Heavyweight Championship. We can only pray. We can only hope and pray that does not happen. I don't think it will, but in WWE, you never know. They hype up Rollins versus Mahal for next week's Raw. Matt Camp says that a lot has changed in 7 years since Mahal was last WWE champion. You don't say. He should have never been WWE champion in the first place. He also recalls their 2012 match, actually. They had a couple of matches back in 2012 over the NXT Championship. It was Mahal who Rollins beat to become the inaugural NXT champion, actually. So I thought it was cool that he acknowledged that. I don't think they acknowledged that in the segment last night on Raw. They didn't really need to, because who the fuck would remember that? I honestly completely forgot about it until I saw it on Twitter. But that is cool that Matt Camp brought it up here, because that is something that he would typically do, is kind of acknowledge the history the two competitors share that they don't acknowledge on television. They hype up Gunther's return to Raw next week, the first time for him on the show since probably before Christmas, right? I mean, they didn't have a show on Christmas, but the week before that when he beat The Miz, or the week before that, I forgot what show he was on. We haven't seen Gunther in a while, but he is back next week. I'm looking forward to that. They recap the WWE Women's Tag Team title match from last night with Katana Chance, Kaden Carter successfully retaining the titles against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. We hear from the champs afterward. Carter says that they want to show the fans things they've never seen before with their innovative offense. Katana Chance says that they were the longest reigning NXT Women's Tag Team champs for a reason. If you took a shot, which would be fitting because I know they have a partying gimmick, if you took a shot for every time they mentioned they were the longest reigning NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, like that even really means anything, you'd be fucking dead. They mention it in every single promo interview package that they have. Every single one. Maybe on commentary too. The longest reigning NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Again, like it even fucking matters. But they're doing a good job of trying to make people care about the division. I will give them that. The match last night was good. So they're trying. I will give them an A for effort on that. But they also just say that they welcome all competition from all brands as well, including SmackDown and NXT. They then have Byron do like the whoop whoop dance, and I just almost died from cringing after seeing that. They then recap the main event with Cody Rhodes beating Shinsuke Nakamura in the street fight. Good stuff. And they then plug Michin, Nick Aldis, and Jinder Mahal for the bump coming up on Wednesday. Decent stuff here from Raw Talk, recapping a solid edition of Raw on Monday night. It is worth noting, for whatever it is worth, they have a table now. I think they used to have a desk here on the show, and then they got rid of it. And they would just stand there. I'm not sure if they would have any papers in their hands, but they would just stand there awkwardly here in Raw Talk and SmackDown Lowdown as well. I assume Lowdown will also have the same set going forward, but they brought back the desk for them to stand at and have their papers at for this show. So for whatever that's worth, that was notable about this episode as well. Thank you guys for checking out my review. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have an awesome one. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.